Welcome to my channel. Today, we will be learning about Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. Alright, buckle up as we dive into the dramatic and captivating life of one of history's most famous rulers, Cleopatra VII. You're in for a tale of power, intrigue, and romance that spans nearly 3 decades. Let's set the scene. Ancient Egypt, a land of mysteries and wonders, ruled by a dynasty of Macedonian Greeks founded by Ptolemy, a general under the great Alexander the Great. Our story begins in 70 or 69 BC, when a certain Cleopatra was born into this world of royalty and drama. Are you ready? Let's begin. The magnificent Cleopatra. Cleopatra, the 7th and final active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. Co-regent, first with her father, then with her 2 younger brothers, and lastly with her son. She held the throne for nearly 3 decades, from 51 to 30 BC. She was part of a dynasty of Macedonian rulers founded by Ptolemy the First Satyr, a general under Alexander the Great during his conquest of Egypt in 332 BC. She was the first queen of the dynasty to learn the Egyptian language and to identify herself with Egyptian gods and customs. The Greek historian Plutarch, writing in the 1st century, described her as exceptionally beautiful. Her romantic and military alliances with the Roman leaders Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, along with her supposed exotic beauty and powers of seduction, have earned her an enduring place in history and popular myth. But her record as a shrewd politician and diplomat has been largely overlooked, since no contemporary accounts of Cleopatra's life exist. Much of what is known about her comes from Greco-Roman scholars, particularly Plutarch, born in 70 or 69 BC. Cleopatra was a daughter of Ptolemy, the 12th Elites, and possibly Cleopatra V. Tryphena. Little is known of her early life, except that she grew up speaking Egyptian, a rare accomplishment for any member of the royal family. Members of the dynasty traced their lineage back to Alexander the Great and considered themselves Greek, not Egyptian. They lived in Alexandria, which had become a cosmopolitan city with a diverse population. In 51 BC, upon her father's death, the Egyptian throne passed to 18-year-old Cleopatra and her 10-year-old brother, Ptolemy XIII. Soon after their ascension, Ptolemy's advisors acted against Cleopatra, forcing her to flee to Syria in 49 BC. There, she met her father's former envoy, the Roman general Julius Caesar. He was on his way to Alexandria to resolve a dispute over his sister's marriage to a local noble. Cleopatra probably hoped that Caesar could restore her to the throne. However, he also wanted Egypt to repay debts incurred by Elites, including repayment for fleets that Elites had ordered from him. After a 4-month war, during which Cleopatra's brother Ptolemy XIII died, probably by drowning, Caesar restored the throne to Cleopatra and her younger brother Ptolemy XIV. Around 47 BC, Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Ptolemy Caesar, known as Caesarion. In 46-45 BC, Cleopatra traveled to Rome with Ptolemy XIV and Caesarion. They paraded through the streets in a golden chariot, while Caesar stood with them on the balcony of his house on the Palatine Hill. Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC, and Cleopatra returned to Egypt. Soon thereafter, Ptolemy XIV was killed, perhaps by Cleopatra, leaving Caesarion as her co-regent. Cleopatra strongly identified herself with the goddess Isis and built a cult of personality around her image as a divine monarch. Despite her secure hold on power, unreliable flooding of the Nile led to crop failures, inflation, and hunger. Meanwhile, a conflict raged in Rome between Caesar's allies and his assassins. Cleopatra sent Roman legions to support the triumvirate, which included Mark Antony and Octavian, who would become Augustus, the first emperor of Rome, in 42 BC after defeating Caesar's assassins. Antony and Octavian divided power in Rome. Antony summoned Cleopatra to Tarsus, supposedly because he suspected her of involvement in Caesar's assassination. Instead, Cleopatra seized on the opportunity to strengthen her alliance with Antony and secure her position in Egypt. According to Plutarch, she arrived in a small boat and rode into town on a golden chariot like the one that had brought her to Rome. She and Antony were lovers. And in 40 BC, she gave birth to twins, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene. Antony married Octavian's half-sister Octavia in an effort to end hostilities with his former ally. However, Cleopatra remained in Antony's life and bore him another son, Ptolemy Philadelphus, in 37 BC. Throughout the 30s BC were a vibrant time. Antony and Cleopatra lived intermittently in Alexandria, building palaces and attending parties. In 31 BC, Antony's defeat in Parthia led to a propaganda war with Octavian, who claimed Antony was under Cleopatra's control. He accused her of plotting to usurp the throne of Rome and made it clear that he would go to war if necessary to end the perceived threat. 2 years later, at the Battle of Actium, Octavian's fleet decisively defeated those of Antony and Cleopatra. With Alexandria under attack, Antony heard a false rumor that Cleopatra had committed suicide and killed himself. On August 12, 30 BC, Cleopatra took her own life, likely by letting a poisonous snake from Egypt bite her. She was buried with Antony, breaking with Egyptian tradition. Octavian consolidated his power in Rome, but he too would eventually face defeat at the hands of Cleopatra's descendants. We hope you enjoyed learning about Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt. Thank you for watching our channel, Ancient Origins, where history meets mystery, where we dive into a world of mythical legends, ancient history, and mind-bending mysteries. From alien encounters to extraordinary people who shaped our planet, we've got it all. Join the adventure, like, and subscribe for a wild ride through time.